tweeted that Don Lemon, quote, made LeBron look smart, which is not easy to do. The point of that interview with Don Lemon was that LeBron James has founded an elementary school for at-risk third and fourth graders in Akron, Ohio. Joining us now is David James. He is the superintendent for the Akron Public School System, the district that oversees LeBron's I Promise school. Mr. James, thanks for being here.
Sure, you're welcome. Good morning.
Any relation with LeBron James?
No, we are not related.
Okay, so let's just put up some of the things that LeBron's school does and provides for these kids, because it's really generous. Free tuition, free uniforms, free breakfast, lunch, and snacks, free transportation within 2 miles, a free bicycle and helmet, access to a food pantry for their families, and then for every student that graduates high school, they get a guaranteed tuition to the University of Akron. So what impact will this have for at-risk kids?
I mean, I think it'll have a very big impact. LeBron has always said in his experiences growing up, he had to go through some of the same things that many of our most challenged students have to go through. And so our partnership with the foundation, which goes back nearly 10 years since I've been superintendent, he's always been there for the kids. He's always, looked at the leaders in the community and will always say and has always said it's about the kids. So when you look at some of the social emotional issues that our children have, the I Promise School will attempt to handle some of those issues, with the availability of extra counselors and, for folks who have issues with food insecurity, the pantry is there. We provide free breakfast and lunch to all of our students, and the transportation is the same for any K through 8 kid who lives more than 2 miles away, gets a bus ride. So it is a public school, and we're funding it as we would fund our other schools in Akron. LeBron funds and his partners fund a lot of the extras which these kids so desperately need.
So, Mr. James, what did you think when you saw the president's tweet insulting LeBron James's intelligence?
Well, it reminds me, someone once told me prominent targets draw fire. It was very unfortunate because LeBron, in my book, has done a great service to the kids in our community. He's been a very, upright guy. We really enjoy the partnership that we have with LeBron, and he's, really set a good example, I think, for our youth. And, I've said it before, I need 1,000 more LeBron James, to work with our kids and partner with us.
Well, you might have one more LeBron James in the form of the First Lady, Melania Trump. Here's what she, the statement that she put out. It looks like LeBron James is working to do good things on behalf of our next generation, and she would be open to visiting the I Promise school in Akron. What do you think? Would you like her to come visit?
I think we would entertain the First Lady. I don't know how LeBron feels about that, but the school just started last week, and we've gotten a lot of calls of people who want to visit, but I think we'd make some consideration if the First Lady wanted to come visit.
All right, well, we will be following this. Maybe that will actually happen. David James, thank you very much for telling us about what's going on there in Ohio.
Thank you.
John.
All right, quite a scene as it always. Biker rally in South Dakota. We wanted to get a sense of where the people there stand on all sorts of things: the economy, politics, the media, and, yes, the president. So we sent CNN's Bill Weir, a man who likes leather, to Sturgis to get a sense of what he's hearing there. Bill Weir joins us this morning. Hey, Bill.
Morning, John. I spared you the chaps this morning, at least. I'm giving you that decency. But here we are on the storied Main Street, the corner of Main and Harley-Davidson Way in Sturgis. It's a little early. People still sleeping off yesterday. But this is the granddaddy of all biker rallies, and what a great place to get inside of the mind of those fervent Trump supporters. This is a fiercely patriotic and loyal group. They love their freedom. And so, like you said, we wanted to sort of put our finger on the pulse of this side of deep red America. They rumble in from all points on the compass, and for 1 week each summer, this little town of 7,000 explodes to 500,000. But this is one city that looks nothing like the rest of America. You can go hours without seeing a person of color. In Sturgis, a minority is a white guy on a foreign bike. There are no debates over gun control here, or the ethics of the Me Too movement. And there is no doubt who is the leader of this pack. But you're a fan of the president? You think he's doing a good job?
Of course, he's doing a lot better than what Obama did.
This ghostwriter reveals himself as John Sands, a postal worker who rides up from Kentucky each year and, like so many I talk to, sees proof of Trump's brilliance in the booming economy.
What they'll tell you is they say, you know, it's the Trump bump, the economy is so good, people are feeling so good.
Rod Woodruff is the owner of the sprawling Buffalo Chip, a Disneyland for bikers, and says his campers have an average income of $95,000 a year.
70-some% are homeowners in the United States.
Okay.
Lots of people own multiple motorcycles.
We have a tattoo parlor up here. We've got food, pizza, anything you want at the free access crossroads.
Very good. You have your own jail?
No, we don't need one.
You don't need one, huh? Violence and arrests are incredibly rare for a crowd of this size. One reason is that most folks share the same values, and those that don't keep it to themselves.
What I see here in motorcycling is a microcosm for the whole country. And I get the feeling sometimes that people that don't believe in what's going on is right have become very quiet.
I think there's a lot of hypocrisy going on in the country now, because I just feel like everybody wants freedom and they want rights, but God forbid somebody disagree with you, because then you'll get your head bitten off.
A couple months back, the president aimed his Twitter and trade war guns at Harley Davidson. Even though they got a huge tax break, the company shut down a factory in Kansas City, laid off hundreds of workers, and said because of the tariffs, they'd have to start production in a new country overseas. Which begs the question, is this the ultimate loyalty test for his base? Do these folks pledge allegiance to the president or Harley Davidson?
You know, I'm going to have to, go with what's going to make America better, and if Harley wants to choose to go somewhere else, then I'll choose to buy different bikes.
I personally love the man. I think he's doing a wonderful job.
Despite the president's disdain for my profession, they could not be nicer. Do I strike you as an enemy of the people?
Not whatsoever. Not at all. We're sure glad to have you here.
But it's obvious that no amount of earnest reporting will change their minds. Because if you look at Russia and the Mueller investigation, and there's a lot of red flags and dark clouds.
Well, that's usually pretty lot of politicians, but one they're picking on because he's out the outside. I mean, if you look at the Clintons, how come they can do things and no one else can?
I mean, I'm old enough to remember when the base loved Harley Davidson and hated Russia, and it seems like it's flipped a little bit.
I don't think there's any reason for him to call him out or make him, we should try to be friendly with everyone, and if they don't want to be friends, then it's a whole nother story.
Even Vladimir Putin, even a dictator, a murderer?
Well, he met with Kim Jong-un as well.
Tell her fake news. We all know it. Ask our Lord,
touch me.
Ask our Lord and Savior Donald J. Trump. He'll tell you.
Back downtown, our presence sparks a debate between some Fox News fans from Texas and Bonnie from Nebraska.
They don't know what they're talking about.
Oh, come on. Yeah, we do. You're an American too. Get on the other side.
That's not true. I watch both.
See?
I go either way.
Which proves we now live in a media age where people can choose their own facts.
I have a friend who's very much Fox, and I go, yeah. I agree with you. No problem. Everybody has their own opinion. It's like...
That's true.
It's like everybody has one.
Just as long as they don't start shooting at each other, right?
Right.
But then the heckling is interrupted by a hero falling from the sky. Sergeant Dana Bowman, an Army Golden Knight who lost both legs in a mid-air collision. He lands with Old Glory, and just for a moment, it feels like we are all in this together.
That's awesome, Bill. Just such an awesome slice of Americana that you gave us. And that's also one of the coolest stand-ups I think we've ever seen, of you just riding around on the motorcycle. But
you can't see the training wheels in the shot. The way they have it framed, you don't see the training wheels.
Yeah, I do that a lot, just ride around talking to myself. But it is really, the people here are so warm and gracious and welcoming. But there is some real, obviously, some real tension percolating beneath the surface here. It'll be interesting to see what happens with this tribe should there be a more overt attack on the country, as it were. But they choose not to listen to any of the nuanced details of what's happening out of Washington. Every tweet that comes from Donald Trump, they make some cheer and rev those deep, throaty pipes.
I was just going to say, Bill, I mean, you did talk to them, and we saw you interacting with them on camera about the media there. Off camera, was it as friendly and congenial as it appeared there?
For sure, yeah. It's funny, I picked up the bike I rented here in Rapid City, a huge Harley dealership, and this grizzled guy comes out, and he goes, "You from CNN?" I go, "Yeah, here we go." I was bracing for myself, and he says, "I want you to tell Don Lemon and Jim Acosta, I think they're American heroes." So I got some of that, but then I got a lot of pushback on the other side. But I've been riding for about 20 years, and bikers I've found are some of the biggest-hearted, warmest, welcoming people, hugely charitable and personable. Their bark is much worse than their bite and their gruff exterior. And their politics, this is not a new phenomenon. Cher famously got booed off the stage at the Buffalo Chip in 2000 when she said she got an invitation to meet with President Bill Clinton. It's Sarah Palin and Kid Rock and Leonard Skinner are here this week. But this president has really figured out how to rally this base behind him.
Well, Bill, it is so interesting for all of us to get a window into how everything operates there. Just really cool. Great to hear from all of those folks who you talked to. Thanks so much for the
Good
reporting.
to see you, friends.
All right, so remember President Trump's claim that millions of people voted
case. All right, Will Ripley, thank you for the reporting and important context. At midnight tonight, the U.S. will reimpose sanctions on Iran, months after